Alright, what's going on? So today I'm making this video because I've been having some problems with my C8 Corvette. And I'm going to dive into the story a little bit. Not going to make this video too long, but I want to dive into the story, tell you what's going on, tell you what I've been told so far, and hopefully just share my experience of this whole ordeal that's going on with my Corvette and many others, unfortunately, from my knowledge. So let's start off with the first thing is that I do not have my C8 Corvette right now, and it has been in the shop for 6 weeks. I dropped it off on September 6th. It's the Wednesday, September 6th, but today is Tuesday, October 17th. So tomorrow, technically, from when I'm making this video, will be 6 weeks out since dropping the car off. Now, before we get into what's going on with all that, I just want to share my experience overall with the Corvette. Now, it's almost been 2 years. In December, it will have been 2 years since I picked up the car. And I just showed up and bought it on the lot. I had a Camaro ZL1, showed up, had a good trade-in offer. This was before all the skyrocketing prices and all that nonsense that happened. Um, and I really love the car a lot, and that's why this situation kind of scares me. I don't know what's going to happen with this car, or what my next step or vehicle may be, even if it comes to, like, I don't know. I'm a little concerned about this whole situation, and it really sucks. But we'll get into that. But really, this car has just been so amazing. Taking it to the track has been an amazing experience. Um, Being able to meet so many amazing people through the car. It's a very good conversation piece, but also just like meeting other people with the C8, who I've become very, very good friends with, like very, very good friends with many C8 owners now. And, hopefully, whether or not I get to keep the C8, that continues on. I'm sure it will. We'll figure a way out to make it more of a general car, crew, you can call it, which I will also be touching up on how many issues have arisen with people I know. Not just me. It's finally hitting me, but uh, other plenty of other people. And as you are probably watching this video, know there are many transmission issues with the C8 Corvette, and that has caught up to me. So, uh, going back to the whole thing about the C8, though, it's like it's such an amazing car. I mean, for the price and performance, I got the Camaro ZL1. If you don't know, I've had the Camaro ZL1 for, I don't even know how long I had that car for, but it was over a year. And that was just an amazing car. It was really an amazing car, and I didn't think that I was ever going to get rid of that one until I can get something like really crazy. But I walked into the dealership one day. They gave me a good trade-in offer, and I got a good deal on the C8. And I was like, mid-engine supercar. What more can I ask for? I test drove one at a CarMax a while back, and I test drove one on my Camaro road trip as well. And then I even stopped at the, ironically, before buying it, without any intention, of course, again, I stopped at the Bowling Green factory in Kentucky, saw all the C8 museum, well, the C8s in the Corvette museum, and it was just everything about it was so amazing, and it really is an amazing car in every aspect. Daily driver, it's amazing. As a sports car, it's incredible, and it's just sad that it's gotten to this point. Now, aside from a few hiccups along the way, I really have not had any issues with this car. Um, when I first got it, I did the standard break-in procedure as you're supposed to. You're supposed to keep it. You're supposed to vary the RPMs all the way through 500 miles. I did it through 1,000 miles, but 500 miles is the software lock off for the higher RPM. They actually lock it off. And yeah, I broke that car in like really properly. I was babying the car when I first got it, big time. And even into the early thousands of miles, I was very just generous to driving it like I was still breaking it in the whole time. Um, and the only thing that I noticed throughout the entirety of owning the C8 was a strange issue that, from anyone else that I've talked to, nobody has had this issue. But I would be on the highway, and this is generally in seventh or eighth gear. So the top two gears, maybe it could happen in sixth. I'm not really too sure, but really where I noticed it was in seventh or eighth gear on the highway, about 70 miles per hour, 70 to 75. It's a very, very small uh, range where this issue would happen. But I'd be on the highway, mostly up on an uphill incline situation, and the car would stutter. And I don't really know how else to explain it, but it would stutter or it would jolt rapidly. Um, and it's almost like I guess the clutch was slipping or something was wrong with the transmission. And if I were to demonstrate, it'd be like if you're going straight uphill, about I think it was about 2,000 RPM, so really low on the RPM range, but it would jolt like this, and you would feel it really fast. It's like you're on the 405. If you're going really fast in the 405, you feel those bumps um, going on the freeway, and it's kind of like that, but very, very intensified in a sense where you really feel it jolting. It's almost vibrating at how fast it's like stuttering, and you feel the jolt forwards and backwards. It's almost like it's even hesitating to shift into the next gear or something, which obviously on eighth it wouldn't be able to anyway, or it's like downshifting really quick, but really, really, really quick stutters. And that didn't really, worry me too much because it was in a weird range, and I was like, oh, maybe a software update will fix it someday or something. Or like, there's no check engine light going off. Like, nothing was really, like, it was very, again, it's a small range that this would happen at. So I didn't really think anything of it. And honestly, sometimes it didn't even happen. So that was just giving me the intention that, like, oh, like something might just be weird. Like, if it gets worse, I'll bring it in. And it really never got worse. It just like happened once in a while, and then I noticed, I got the extra 2 quarts of transmission fluid, and I feel like it went away for a little bit when I did that, and then it came back, and then like I did an oil change, and it went away, and then it came like it literally would just come and go randomly, and again in that very small like area where if I was powering through that area, I wouldn't feel it anyway. Or if I was in a higher RPM, if I stayed in a higher RPM, I wouldn't feel it anyway. Like if I was in even sport mode where it keeps it in a higher RPM or track mode, I wouldn't feel it because it would be above 2,000 RPM. It literally only happened at like 1,900 to like maybe 2,100, like at the most in that area. But literally like right on the dot at like 2,000 RPM, it would happen, and it would just, if especially going uphill on an incline again, if you were staying at that RPM, that's where you can stay there and you would feel it the whole time until you got above it, and then it would kind of just be smooth as butter. Um, but over the months of owning it, there was one instance that I had where I turned the car on and the check engine light came on and I couldn't shift it into drive. And so I shut the car off and let it like reset, walked away for 15 minutes, came back to the car, turned it on, and it still didn't work after turning the car back on. So I had to disconnect the battery and hard reset it essentially, and that fixed it. Check engine light actually went away. So I don't know what the deal was with that situation, but that was about probably a little over a year ago. Recently, though, at this point, probably 2 months ago, I had a situation where the same thing happened, and I've been again experiencing those stutters in that really small range, but it never went away. So that was like, okay, I think I want to get this addressed now. Coming up on 2 years, I want to get this looked at and taken care of. Because along the way of me owning this car for 2 years and meeting everyone with C8s, we have had at least 4 people need new transmissions in their C8 Corvette, which is insane. And most recently, we have a member in our Corvette crew who has a 2023 Corvette and needed a new transmission within 6,000 miles of owning a 2023 C8 Corvette, needing a new transmission. That is ridiculous. So with all those problems going back and forth between everyone, many people have had their car in the shops for similar, very like as long as I'm having now, but long times in the shop. Um, I was like, I'm gonna get this looked at now. It's time for me to get this looked at and figure out if I need software update or a flush or new parts, new transmission, even who knows. So yeah, the whole thing with the car turning on, I couldn't shift it into drive. Had to try and reset the car by just locking it, walking away. That didn't work. Had to dismantle the whole frunk area, all the plastics there, just to get to the battery. Remove the battery terminal for 10-15 minutes. Plug it back in. Turn the car back on. This time the check engine light did not go away. But of course, I had to go to the store that day. I drove it to the store, drove absolutely fine. Came back. I'm like, all right, I'm dropping this off in the morning. And so the next day I dropped it off. And of course, in the morning when I turned the car on, and check engine light disappeared all of a sudden. It was on when I drove it to the store, but it went away. So dropped the car off September 6th. And they were like, yeah, we're pretty backed up, ironically enough, to the 2023 Corvette that had to get a new transmission was in the shop at that time getting a new transmission. And then there was someone else in line for their transmission as well, I believe. Maybe parts for it or a full new one. I don't remember. But 2 people that I knew in the shop for transmission issues. And now I'm in line waiting for mine to get looked at. So about a week later, they got to take a look at it, and they said, yeah, you have a transmission problem. They, from my knowledge, have had so many issues that they have like a 3-step like failure or pass test that they do where you'll either need a transmission fluid flush. That failed for me, and that was not gonna help. So then they did the valve body, or they did the valve body, and then they said, okay, you need a new valve body. So that's what they did for me. They were like, you don't need a full transmission, but you need new valve body. That's what you need. And I'm like, okay. So you're ordering the part. Yeah, we're ordering the part. So they ordered the part. Well, they were actually trying to find one first, but they couldn't find any. I'm going to touch up on that in a second as well. But they were looking for valve bodies and they couldn't find one anywhere, apparently in the United States. But eventually they got something to do with the shipping center. Like they have to get it from either the manufacturer. I don't know where the heck they get it. They got one or they found one, but it has to go to the shipping center first. And from the shipping center or the distribution center, they'll send it out to the dealership that I went to. So about 2 weeks pass, and I eventually get in a loaner car that I've had for 5 weeks now. I got the loaner car about a week, maybe a week, a little over a week into it, because I needed a car. The C8 is my daily. So I'm like, can I please get a car? And they're like, yeah, because they don't know how long it's gonna take. So 2 weeks pass, 3 weeks into this, and they said, yeah, we're still working on getting that valve body. Um, Now, just to shorten the story up a little bit, because I don't want to get into every little nitty gritty detail. It's been 6 weeks now, and I contacted GM, trying opened a case to figure out what's going to happen now that my car's been in the shop for 6 weeks. I got a text from the dealership today saying that the valve body is en route to the distribution center. Kind of the same thing that I heard, 4 weeks ago. So another thing that to consider is the fact that now there is a strike going on with the GM, and it is affecting the distribution center that this part that they need is going to. So all in all, they don't know when my car is going to be fixed, and this is a statement that I was told by my advisor less than a week ago, so a little over 5 weeks into this, and they don't know when I'm going to get my car back. They don't know. Um, some other scary, just thoughts that I've been, or statements that I've been told, excuse me, are that some of the rental car bills that this dealership has been getting, one of them was 10 grand for the rental bill, which to my knowledge means many, many, many weeks. I'm 6 weeks in. Mine's probably a little over $1,000 now, but $10,000. And so yeah, I'm talking to GM now. I have a case, and I'm gonna figure out what's going on, and that's what I'm gonna keep updating videos for. Share this experience, this negative experience, unfortunately, that I've been having with my C8 after all of the amazing experiences I've had. This is unfortunately what's happening now, and I don't know where this is going to go from here. There's a lot of things on the table in this situation now, with it being so long and with it possibly taking significantly longer before I get the car back, if I get the car back. Um, so I just wanted to share this because a couple of things. First of all, if you're thinking about getting a C8, please do consider the fact that you may have a serious transmission problem, whether it be immediately or down the road, as my experience has been down the road versus most people having it earlier on. Um, Not to turn you off from the car, because it is an incredible car and arguably, worth this trouble. However, another issue that I've recently possibly heard about was the fact that GM, the reason I don't have a valve body part at my dealership is because GM has been using all their parts to put in the new cars so that they can sell the new C8s, which is definitely disappointing, considering that means they just don't care as much about the people who already have the C8 and do not have the stock to fix the very apparent issues with the transmissions. Another thing that I want to add is they were actually trying to possibly give me a transmission, uh, instead of bypass the valve body that they said I need, because it's either a transmission fluid flush, the valve body, or a full transmission. They're trying, my advisor, which again, I have no issues with anyone that I'm talking to. It's just GM as a whole right now. I feel like this situation is very messed up for not only me. It's not only me experiencing this. There's plenty of people out there that are dealing with this, and plenty of people that I personally know have already dealt with this or are currently dealing with this. But they're trying to. My advisor was trying to approve a full transmission for me because he was like, I think we could get that done faster than waiting for this valve body to show up, which may be who knows how long because of the strike that's affecting the distribution center. Um, but because of the price difference, of course, they do not want to approve that. It's like, from what I was told, about it costs them about 15 grand to do that or something. Which on another side thought is, at the end of the day, if and when I get this car back with the new valve body, I'm assuming I'm gonna run into a problem because everyone that I know who has gotten the valve body has needed a new transmission anyway. Uh, weeks or months down the line. If I get a new transmission, okay, as far as I know, the new transmission, new version, updated version, is in the Z06. Makes sense. Has a lot more horsepower. New car. They had to redesign the transmission. Well, they better have, considering it has that extra horsepower. But I'm going to get another transmission that may or may not fail in the future when my warranty runs out. And I don't think, as much as I love the car, I don't think I love it that much to have to pay for a new transmission every 2 years or 3 years. If it's going to keep failing, it's the same transmission. What's going to be different about it? But then on the other side of things, apparently they've sold the most C8s this year ever, which goes to show why they don't have any extra valve bodies for me. But why are there so many transmission problems? But then, if they have sold so many cars, there are cars out there that don't have that many issues. But like, what's to say that the new transmission they give me is not gonna have the same problem? I don't think personally that I would pay out of pocket to get this thing fixed. So at the end of the day, I don't know if I want to keep this car after this whole, you know, mess of a situation that has unfortunately unfolded. Um, I thought when I was bringing it in on September 6th that it was going to be, I understood it was going to be at least a week. There was going to take them a week to look at it because the other two C8s that were in line at this dealership for transmission issues, and when they finally diagnosed it as the valve body, I was like, okay, maybe 2 weeks. What if it takes a while for them to ship it, and they have others, they have other C8s in there too. Um, but the fact that it's been 6 weeks tomorrow, and the part is en route, according to them, to the distribution center. That's it. And at the distribution center, it's not. They're striking. I'm not gonna get the part. They're not gonna get the part anytime soon. I don't know. It sucks, but that's what's going on, and I'm gonna keep you updated with the next steps. The GM rep actually called me today. I missed the call, unfortunately. It was earlier this morning, and they are going to. They contacted the dealership. They're gonna speak with me tomorrow about what kind of compensation I'm gonna get for this mess, as well as what we might be able to do with this car. Like I don't know what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna keep you updated. And yeah, that's why I've been posting. I don't have my car. It's in the shop, and I don't know what's gonna happen with it, to be honest. So that's gonna be it for this one. Uh, Definitely hope that if you have a C8, this doesn't happen to you. But keep in mind, this is not just my story. This is many stories. Many people that I know have had similar issues. Some very much worse situations. Like, for instance, 5 months in the shop. Someone that I know has had their car in the shop for a month before they even looked at it, and I think it was like 2 months or a little over 2 months before they got it back. They just got it back recently, and then someone else had transmission issues. They lemoned it. They got it lemoned, and then they ended up getting a Z06 allocation. Someone else got the valve body done, or got a transmission fluid flush and a valve body. Still didn't fix it. Car went into limp mode many times. Brought it back, got a new transmission. Now they're dealing with lemon law situations, but and that's just three instances, and then of course the brand new 23 with the new transmission. Um, yeah, so that's gonna be it for this one. Hopefully, I was able to share some helpful information or insight as to what's going on right now with C8s. As far as I know, a lot of C8s, and I'm gonna keep you updated. Hopefully things turn out well. Again, I really do love this car, but this is very concerning situation to be in. Um, and yeah, I just hope for the best. So until the next one, peace.